on my clock, so that means it's actually noon on that one.
So
So I will call the meeting, the December 11th meeting of the Missouri Valley Complex Committee to order. Steve, can you provide the roll?
Sure. Flacco.
Yes, here.
Hine. Horning.
Here.
Kratusek.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
Hilsader.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Martinezson.
Here.
Graylow.
Here.
Clipfell. You have quorum, Madam Chair.
All right. Next up on the agenda is the approval of the November 19th, 2025 minutes as distributed in email. Do we have any additions, corrections, or a motion to approve those minutes?
I would move that we approve the minutes of November 19th, 25.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, there is a motion and a second to approve the November 19th, 2025 minutes as distributed. All in favor of that indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the minutes are approved. I forgot to, the agenda is distributed. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, we will proceed. Item number 4, public comment restricted to Burley County residents and landowners. If anybody wishes to make public comment, please step forward now. Second call, public comment. Third and final call, public comment. Seeing none, I will close the public comment section. Typically, we have our Commissioner Munson briefing, but he had a conflict and is not able to attend today. I also do not have a written update from him. While I could probably speak marginally educated on some of these items, I would like to not speak out of turn. So we will table an update for Commissioner Munson to a future point in time. Steve, does that align with our needs, or is
Yeah, I think it does. Just a couple things, if I might. I did have a conversation with Commissioner Munson that on 12/1, Burley County did approve the draft agreement between the city and the county on the ETA and ETA exclusions. And of course, one of those exclusions is that the Missouri Valley Complex planning and final platting, all the planning and development will be under the county. Will not be with the city planning department, it'll be with the county planning department. So that, I think the final approval of the city now on that agreement is forthcoming. So Commissioner Munson did indicate that it's probably going to be not before April before we're finished up with all the platting and all the processes and policies that the county will review in this. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but we don't want to lose any time, so we're going to talk about a couple other things later on. But and the other one, we have now gotten a word back on what has transpired with the mitigation and 404 permit, if anybody has submitted a RFP, a proposal. So that'll probably be on the next Monday's 15th meeting of the county commission. And the first one that was in the paper and everything, the update, Park Board has discontinued the maintenance contract with county parks, includes the Missouri Valley Complex. So Commissioner Munson is working on how they're going to manage that and cover it, and that also includes everything that the Park District did on site for maintenance and mowing and community gardens and everything at the complex. So that plan will be forthcoming as well.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions or comments on any of those items? All right, discussion to be continued as things progress. Agenda item number 6. Before you is a printout of the full report drafted for inclusion in the December 15th County Commission meeting packet. The point of this was to encapsulate all of the progress made throughout the last more or less 2 years of this committee functioning and to kind of get it all in one place that was easily referenced and provided to the county commission. Part of that included highlighting economic impacts as well as general participation and, you know, what that complex can do for the community as a whole and even beyond our borders of the county. Then also to kind of provide a snapshot of how we've approached regulatory things and the form and function and the chain of command. So again, it's a little bit of a formality, but I think it is important to highlight to the seated county commissioners what we have accomplished. And it's also nice for us to kind of pound the stake in the ground to see where we've come. The document that's in front of you was also sent out in mid-November. There has been no substantial changes to it, just a couple of wording, grammatical, spelling things, and then I included the additional information provided by Extension and 4-H regarding numbers, the participation. The other document in front of you is the draft of the slides that I plan to quickly go through at the meeting. This is 10,000 foot view, but to provide some talking points and distill down the multi-page document that the commissioners will receive in their meeting packet. I would request that before, you know, Saturday, Sunday, if you have, or even today, have a chance to quickly review this to make sure that it aligns with the information provided by the stakeholders, your groups, so I'm not misrepresenting anyone. But the Commissioner Munson requested that this be a very brief, short overview as to not take up too much time or go into too much detail unless questioned at the meeting. So that is the plan. We are on the agenda for Monday, December 15th. And I believe that there is there a motion that Commissioner Munson is bringing before the county commission? I thought there was, but now I can't think of anything.
I don't think so.
No, I think we are good. Okay, so there shouldn't be any course of action needed to be taken that day. Any questions, comments, discussion on any of the material?
The first question I have is, it's in the slide deck, and I believe it's also in this, the slide deck's quicker to find, so it's on the second slide. Is there a particular reason that you put the fund balance as of August 2024 instead of like a current one for 2025? So to document that we took out 50,000,
Yeah.
and that we took whatever? I'm just wondering, it'd be
No.
nice even for me to know the fund balance.
I agree.
Or something.
As I was
November
prepping
1st.
that to send it in, I thought so too, because
I know that's the right number for that date, but we
Right.
took for sure 50,000 out.
57,000
57, yeah, oh yeah,
with the delineation. Yeah, I will
Okay.
request
If you could-
an updated balance,
can.
I agree, from Mark as before we get there.
And, yeah, if you can, I know it's like Monday.
Yeah.
I can look it up after the meeting.
Oh,
That'd
that's
be
great, then you can just fix it. Okay, the other thing is a semantics issue, and it's also like a perception issue. This will be on page 9. It says at the top, Joanne Hetzel Memorial Building was donated, it actually wasn't
Ooh,
donated.
yeah, that's in
We
this.
sold it to them, whether you agreed to our price, it was not donated to them.
Good
That is important, if we could fix that, that perception, is important to me.
Yep, no, I
I'm
agree.
just one person at the table.
I agree, that is actually correct, and clearly I missed that in here. Any other questions, comments?
Madam Chair, we might, maybe Thomas can help, but the interest that has been earned this year too, is that available in that account?
That I might have to go to the treasurer's office to get more information on. I'm not sure if they're current in entering all that stuff, just with being short different staff members or whatnot, but I can give you what I show in our accounting software.
Great. Any additional comments, questions, corrections? Wonderful, so this has been sent to Mark, however, I will send an updated version. And then, of course, if there's anything that comes up, even up until and before the county commission meeting on Monday, by all means, I can address that live at the table, so feel free to let me know. Agenda number 5, committee reports and updates. Is there an update on the future farm function operations, or are we just discussing? As you all have seen the emails, the request from our individual stakeholders, their organizations independently appoint from within their own ranks the representatives at this table for their stakeholder group. I believe I've received or have the promise to receive all of those, and I know that there's one change coming forward for one of the stakeholders. Otherwise, I think by and large it stays the same. There are 3 members at large, which are Dustin, myself, and Wayne. We have progressive rolling off of those terms, starting the end of 26, and then 27, and then 28. There was one item that I was made aware of as I was going through preparing for this presentation. Back when we solidified or voted on when those appointments would be due, we had agreed to align with Burleigh County process for their commissions and boards, being that's done in December. We inadvertently, I believe, left out language to include appointees in that. According to our minutes, the appointees from the stakeholders group is done in April because that's when we started. I'm not sure if we need to take formal action, but I would like to correct the record if the group agrees to make sure that the appointees all align in the same month, being December, in line with the county. So can I just do a let the record show, or do we need to do a motion?
I think a motion would be appropriate.
Okay. Would anybody, can I make a motion?
No.
I don't think so. Would anybody like to motion to update the record?
So I would move that the stakeholders groups, their representatives are appointed and turned in December of every year,
With seating in January.
with seating in January.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion on the table is to update the record that appointees will be made in December of every year, taking action or assuming those roles in January to align with Burleigh County. Any discussion related to the motion? Seeing none, Steve, can you call the roll?
Leco,
Yes.
Horning,
Yes.
Graylisek,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Milzenberger,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Martinezson,
Yes.
Graylow,
Yes.
motion carried.
Great. With the absence of Commissioner Munson, I don't know that I have an accurate update on the change in the Bismarck Parks District Commissioner representation on the board. I would like to wait until we can hear from the commissioner on that to see how everything is setting up. Is there any other questions or discussions on committee reports and updates? All right, moving on to number 8. We have gotten to the point in our progress that we have the zoning change to P public, and the plat is going through what the plat needs to go through before that is approved or presented to the county for approval. And we are quickly staring down the need to finalize our plans for the facility. And all of the work that we've done up to this point is laying the foundation for that. So us as a group, especially the stakeholders groups, need to get together to look and see how that final plat aligns with planning for, parking lots or new buildings, whatever the case may be. And I would suggest that we hold that in at least initial discussion separate from a meeting, most likely in January, to really take a look at what future plans and desires and needs exist. We do have a meeting slated for Wednesday, January 21st at noon here, our typical meeting, but I would entertain any suggestions of an additional time, or if that is the wishes of the group to meet separately.
I have a question. So last month we discussed having more than just us. So like someone from like the Burley County Roads Department, maybe someone from the Planning Department. And now, and I don't know how that all works, but you had indicated, like when they sign this ETA, now it's gonna become Burley County's deal, like can we build a building that looks like this, or can we do this, can we have gravel? Now it's Burley County's decision. Will like if someone from the planning department's there, will they actually be able to answer it? Or do we need, and I know you don't wanna wait, and I'm not saying we can't have a meeting and talk about like, oh, my dream is to build a building and my dream is to have a road, but like I feel like when you said April before all the like legality parts are, we don't, like, is it useful to talk about roads when maybe Burley County gonna make us put in curb and gutter? Or the city was maybe going to, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
the road part is an issue because that was a big thing with this, the city, right?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Marie, it's really kind of two parts here. One is the initial part to plan and discuss the plat so that we agree on roads and parking lots, we'll support facilities, we talked about campground, locations of those things, like the dirt track, and, kind of identifying those pieces for the plat and what the uses are, the fair and festival grounds, so you mark that out along with the roads, because that'll drive how the water, sewer, the infrastructure kind of stuff gets developed. The second part is gonna be when you get into the individual projects, such as the dirt track or the equestrian center area, that becomes a separate planning process in itself. We just need to block out the chunks and say, this is what's gonna go here. Because it also then has an impact on access roads and entrances to Midwest Drive and those things. The county planning department will have to tell us what they will require for curb and gutter and those things, because we're now under their overview or review. The other component, the city will engage because water and sewer are still there, and that's gonna have to be some kind of agreement to provide that to the county for this site. And it's likened to the state capital grounds, how they're managed as a planning commission. Capital Grounds Planning Commission manages that, plans the whole thing. And then there's certain aid issues, mutual aid or fire and some of those things that come as a separate agreement with the city. So there's a lot of those things. But we do need the county engineer, we need the planning department, we probably need admin, because we talk about how we're gonna pay it, there's some planning things. How do we move some of this forward? That's all got to be put in plan, so. Then the groups can start looking at their individual areas once we get that, but we got to keep ahead of the curve and not wait till April to start talking about the plan internally, and the plat process is going to be continued, so otherwise we lose a year.
Justin?
So this is primarily a question for Steve. And so project management on this, what I'm seeing is, I think we need a point person, if not a actual project manager, is to make sure that the scope and what we're discussing is relevant so that we're not just stumbling around as a committee. Is that a role that you feel comfortable and are willing to fill, or is there somebody else at the county level that we could utilize for that without having to hire another consultant?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
One thing just to let you know, Dustin and the committee, is that I will be the representative from the Ag and Equestrian Center beginning in January.
Okay.
And Alan's life has changed, he's got different duties, responsibilities, and his time commitments, so I think that we can talk about that as we go, and then the coordination with Commissioner Munson is also gonna be very important. But, yeah, I agree, and that it needs that coordination to keep it moving along.
Mhm.
I agree with you. So planning, if I can finish here, Madam Chair. We could take, January and invite and have an evening meeting or whatever works, or in lieu of, or just a planning session, we can do that. But we do need to concentrate on, we have other business of the group, but we do need to concentrate on this discussion and get the feedback from county engineering and planning department and what's gonna what. Biggest thing that's gonna happen, or it's gonna take some time, is some of these policies and procedures and planning now in this area by the county planning department, so.
So what I'm hearing is that it would be in the best interest of the group to set a date or identify a couple of options and times, and then invite key staff from within Burley County to kind of give us a roadmap of where to go forward with planning items. Scheduling is like probably the hardest thing that any of us do. So I would entertain some ideas of how to do that. One suggestion I would make is discussion here to at least identify a time frame, during the day or not, and then we could do follow up with a doodle poll, whatever.
So, one thing I think that could drive it is the use of this room is probably the best, because it's the best for recording. Cause I was thinking, maybe the road thing is best if we go out to the road place, out to the county shop, and they got a big map on the wall, but maybe part of it is driven by this, so like we aren't on the night of the school board, we aren't on the night of the county commission. My other question would be, and that's just something I personally would probably have to email the staff about, is it best for them to come to a 4 o'clock meeting or a 3:30 meeting, and they're not having to come back at 7 or at 6 when they worked? I don't really know how time management works on their clocks, for overtime and all that. So I think that'd be a good place to start, is like, we could probably quick identify, like, when can you never have this room at
Right.
those times? And maybe I would recommend going towards the end of the day, that would be better anyway for me, to come at 3:30, to stay till 5 or 5:30, than to wanna come back in January in the middle of the night at 7.
I'm going to agree with you on that.
Okay, so I'd rather see it not be at noon and be more towards the end of the day, whatever that looks like, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. And then, so I'm thinking, like in my head, the first thing that pops in my mind, it's gonna probably have to be on a Thursday, because I feel like there's nobody else that meets on Thursday. At least I don't wanna watch meetings on Thursdays, so anyway, that maybe is the best place to start. And I don't know who you start with to find out. The last Thursday in January, is this room open at 4:30? Then you invite people, and the more people that say no, then you change it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just pick a date based on this room's availability. Let this room drive that date. I don't know how you pick the time, but that's my recommendation, is late
Madam
afternoon.
Chair.
Yes.
The highway department building has a beautiful meeting room out there.
Yeah,
And Thomas, maybe you can help me out. Is planning office out there?
No, planning and zoning is here.
Okay. But Marcus has all the maps, has all the stuff, that's been put up on screens. We can record it with the owl, and they have an owl out there too, probably, I think, out there. They do
I
record.
can't confirm
Believe
or
that
deny that.
they've referenced that in the past, yes.
Personally, this room is not a good planning room discussion. I mean, to sit and
Collaboration.
really talk about stuff, and it's very too formalized in some respects for that. But maybe we could visit with Marcus and meet out there, because that would be, he's got great room out there for that stuff. And everything, and the technical stuff that we'll be looking at are roads and access points, and he'll know that. There is one other part of this, keep in mind as we develop the plan, we are within the city limits. So there are gonna be, there's gonna be some, well, building things are gonna be, have some oversights that are present, building codes and things are gonna be, that's where we're gonna be at. And that's just what life, that's what the way life's gonna be. We can't just go do it without permits and all those kinds of things. So there's processes to put together, but building codes will cover this area as well.
Yeah, and the being out there might also make it easier for some people to attend that I think know about the infrastructure, roads, what ideas they have, what's the problem we have out there now with this road being too low or whatever, because you hear things, but what's real for the people on the ground doing the actual work. And they also know about things where I feel like they could say, you can't put that there or whatever, you know, to help. So if that works better, I think that is a nice room. I went to some meetings there.
The discussion will also help the final mitigation of wetlands too, and taking care of that issue for roads and things.
All right, well, I think we will start first with identifying the room rate availability at the highway department, and unless I hear otherwise, I think, I'm gathering that there's a consensus to look at an end of day versus middle or evening type meeting. So once we identify some possible dates, I would cross-reference that then with county staff to ensure that it works with their schedule, and then send the results to the committee after. Wayne?
I got a question. I know Marcus Hall, he's resigning. Yeah, he's resigning here in the end of the month, or retiring. Who's gonna take his place? You haven't heard, huh? I haven't either, so.
I think there's 2 senior engineers that are gonna be supervising, I guess, together until they.
From out there at the county shop.
Yeah,
Very capable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I think we have a generally that plan going forward. Any other questions, comments, discussion on that plat and planning meeting? All right. Any other discussion for the good of the order?
Are you thinking then if we wouldn't have the 21st meeting at noon, we would cancel that?
We'll
Figure that out as we
We'll
go?
check the dates and
Okay.
stuff, and if we have to be the week before we meet on the
Yeah.
21st, then we'll leave ourselves, and then we can have discussion here.
So you're still thinking, but there'd be 2 separate meetings, we wouldn't just replace the one?
One is
Okay,
just purely planning.
Okay.
Yes, and I mean, as we've had in the past, if it works out to be that there's absolutely no business to conduct, we, reserve the right to cancel that, but at this point, leave it on your calendars. Anything else for the good of the order? Seeing none, we will move to adjourn the meeting. Yeah, Jesus, I'm off today, guys. Unless there is any objections, I will adjourn the meeting of the Missouri Valley Complex Committee.
Oh, forgot it was a slate's kicking.
That's it?